When the right people come together at the right moment, when they care almost as much about winning as they do about each other, they can become the best of the best.
Welcome to the best soccer show, the best soccer show in the whole world.
Here we go. It's the best soccer show. Jason Davis, 5-time MLS Cup champion, 6-time MLS Cup champion, and Jared Dubois, 5-time MLS Cup champion. No, I don't know.
You don't deserve to wear the shirt, man. You don't deserve to wear the shirt.
I saw the stars, and I'm like, I got something clever to say, and then realized this shirt predates the last cup. My bad. I'm sorry about that, everybody. It's looping. We're here. It is Wednesday. We're wearing LA Galaxy gear and Punk Rock Museum gear. Did you already went? You bought the
yeah,
shirt?
baby. Come on, baby. I earned this.
You earned because you went to the museum. You earned
That's
it.
Right. I didn't buy it online or anything. I bought it in person, man.
I went there. It's like Brian Strauss's rule about getting a scar from games he goes to. He will not collect scars from games he does not attend.
I didn't know that was the thing.
That was Brian Strauss. It is Brian Strauss's thing. Actually, I know he's sold some of his scarf collection, so it's probably out there in the world now.
I bet you Pablo Mara bought most of it.
Who didn't go to those games, so they are besmirching the spirit.
I can't believe he would be willing to sell it without authenticity, like showing a certificate of authenticity. Like someone chose a ticket stub. They went to that game.
Maybe he did that. Maybe he verified their attendance at the game.
Dude's got no scruples.
No, come on, Brian Strauss, super scrupulous guy.
Yeah.
More scruples than anybody I know. Just full of scruples, just dotted like scruples on top of scruples.
Oh, Connor asked a big question. You guys signed up for World Cup tickets? I did not.
No, and
I have a hard time right now giving my money and like the type of money they're asking for, despite my devotion to the sport and my kids' perfect window to see a World Cup, you know?
Well, so here's the thing. Like, I would definitely have to travel a little bit, maybe not too far, but I would definitely have to travel a little bit to go to games next year. And you're going to hate what I'm about to say. You're going to be so mad at me. You're going to roll your eyes so goddamn hard at me. Like, I know that's going to be a thing.
Let's see.
And so I will preemptively. I got to wait for something to load over here. I got the computer working. I think it goes. Wait, hold on. I got to make sure this is actually. Can you just fill for a second? I got to work out some technical stuff. We're a little bit behind today.
I guess. I mean, you said it's not. You know, the games are close to you, but yeah, I got games in my backyard, but it doesn't mean I've got like bottomless pockets.
WNBC.
I know where this is going.
I don't know if I'm going to be like covering games, out at games, doing radio shows from game. I have no idea. Like that,
flipping the coin at the midfield.
I've been told. Yeah. As a VI, I don't know if I'm VIPing at these games, dude. There's a very good chance that I will be VIPing.
I think
at some of these matches.
Very important journalist. Big.
I thought you were going to say jerk off for a second.
Oh, Jesus, why would I say that?
I don't know, because you hate it when I do this stuff and bring up WNBC and say the wrong name.
I'm happy for you.
And call you the wrong name. That thing always.
Yeah, but listen, as soon as I heard the phrase dynamic pricing, I was like, okay, as someone who lives in LA, there's no way that this is going to work out well for me.
This is a person, Chase Lee. I bought tickets to USA, Paraguay, and Philly. Going to bring the kids 2 and 4. This is not for the World Cup. This is obviously for the friendly that's coming up. How do I make it to at least halftime with 2 little kids? Jason, you are a brave person. You are braver than I am. I have one. I have a 4-year-old, and he likes the game. There is 0 chance he would sit through.
I would say, first of all, earmuffs for both of them. Snacks.
Good idea.
Lots of snacks in your pockets.
Yeah, you're gonna have to apply them with sugar, but then you deal with the sugar effects. That's the problem. Like
at your favorite team, Galaxy, who you're wearing your jersey right now, we have a big bucket of hot cookies, chocolate chip cookies that come right out of the oven that you can buy.
That sounds like a euphemism for something in LA that I don't want to know.
You just go get yourself a big tub of chocolate chip cookies, and you sit down with a 2 and 4-year-old and say, "Do your worst."
Sounds like something some actor, in his bungalow is calling up a delivery service, and some young,
I'll take some of that cookie dough.
Fit lad is like, I brought your hot cookies. Like that sounds very like something very LA that I don't want to know about.
Both work.
Like Yeah, it could be that. Anyway, congratulations, and also like hope that works out for you. Congratulations on going to the game with your
Well,
kids. Like,
I mean, it's a Paraguay. It's not the World Cup game, but I'm happy he's going to
no, I'm
to the
saying
game.
like
Yeah.
that's what I mean. Like,
That's a
and here's
good
the thing.
trial run for the future.
I really want to take Tiago. We got to pick a weekend. I think my introduction for Tiago, maybe a Spirit game, because then at least you'll see a
Wait,
decent team on the
he doesn't
field.
get to be VIP junior for the World Cup.
It's possible. I don't know. I mean,
Mm.
he's a phenom.
They
so he
waved
gets
to me
his
from the
own.
luxury box, huh?
I'll do my best with my mouth full of hot cookies. So I'll be
Mm.
like this. And there's my guy Jared. Oh, actually, hey Jared's Jared up there.
No, Jared. Here's what I told my kids and family. I was like, they're like, yeah, we're
Yeah.
gonna go. I'm like, but like, it's gonna be so damn expensive. Like,
Yeah.
what we will do since the games are in town is like we'll go to a watch party or something like that.
So that's
We'll do a
the thing.
local
Like,
kind of thing.
this is how sad it is because of the dynamic pricing, because of the ticket snafus and problems. By the way, today was only Visa card holders could get into the lottery for the pre-sale.
No
You know,
Diners Club.
if you're not a Diners Club, if you're a Diners Club or Discover card, or
Mm.
you've got one of those like I don't know,
Meme coin.
something. You got an Apple card or whatever. I don't know if that works. But anyway, the whole thing is a mess. They're doing dynamic pricing, and it just feels like, yeah, I'd rather go to a watch party. Like, the energy is going to be better. It's just going to be better. I'm going to have more fun.
For free at my house. The atmosphere is going to be just fine at a watch party. I don't know, man. It's just maybe this is just years and years and years of watching FIFA and US soccer gouge the fan base for every dollar. And also, like, it's not like this team is making me want to like throw down a bunch of money because, oh man, we might win this thing or like
Right,
compete. I mean, yeah, we won, and we'll get into that in just a second, but I mean, we literally won against a whole new 11 that started against Mexico. Which, sweet. I'm happy we won. I'm happy we look good in some spots, but there's levels here, and I don't know that it eclipses the last 18 months, 2 years of results.
Let's think about it a little bit differently, right? In 1994, you were a teenage lad, very into the game, like super fan, soccer player, living the dream.
No, not really. Just playing because my friends played. The World Cup really is what made me a super fan.
I see. Okay, so you were on the verge of becoming a fan, but you were sort of
playing
in that
sport.
you were in that you were in that key demographic. You were the demographic. And if you think about, if you rewind and you get in the time machine, if you're Mr. Peabody and Sherman and you're going back to 94, you can see like this is a seminal moment. This helps make so many fans who maybe have kids or are kids and and that team was not expected to do much of goddamn anything in 1994. Nobody was thinking the United States is going to make a bunch of noise in a home World Cup. It was like, thank God, like you should be thanking God that you get to play with us. That was the attitude in 94. And you got to see Marcelo Balboa come this close to hitting an incredible overhead kick for a goal. We got to see Eric Ronaldo score on that weird grass in the Pontiac Silverdome to draw with Switzerland. We got
Leonardo
to see
take one to the face.
We got to see Tab Ramos.
Not Leonardo. Tab Ramos
by Leonardo. Yeah, we got to see, we got to see some stuff, right? Alexi Lawless and the hair and the story, and nobody was thinking the U.S. is going to be good in that, and yet we were super excited.
Mm-hmm.
And people, I'm going to actually address this. Connor saying I referenced Peabody and Sherman and not Back to the Future. I could have done Back to the Future. That's more my wheelhouse. I've seen the Peabody and Sherman movie too many goddamn times recently. That's part of the issue. That's what having a kid does to your brain. But I'm saying, like, if people, young people in the age group you were in 94 think like you are now, then what the hell are we doing here? Like,
it's just like with my shirt right now, the font. I think there's a bunch of new people, the younger people, they're going to think like, why they use the Rick and Morty font? Where the old heads like me are like, no, that's the Circle Jerks font. Like you just got to, it's just how you associate things.
So you're saying that you are jaded and cynical now, and this team hasn't gotten to where you want it to go, and therefore
no. What I'm saying is, in 1994, I had to buy. I had a friend who had a ticket. They couldn't go.
Yeah.
They couldn't go. I got gifted a ticket and got to go. And now in 2025, I have to buy a minimum of 4 tickets at a huge dynamic price. And it's like, do you want to go on a vacation or do you want to go for 2 hours to SoFi Stadium? Like, I mean, it's hard to tell the
No,
kids
I
like, hey,
get
we're
it.
not
I get it.
vacationing this year.
The vibes are very different than they were in '94. That is absolutely true. And just because it feels like we should be taking full advantage of the World Cup on home soil doesn't mean we can't be upset about the way it's all going down. And I'll mention this. I found out over on Morning Kick Around, we talked to a guy. He goes by Travel Football Fan on YouTube. Everybody check him out. Check out the video we did on Morning Kick Around, but check him out too. He's got all the info on all this process, right? And he came to educate us on Monday. And what he said was in Mexico, no dynamic pricing. You cannot do it. FIFA's not allowed to do it, and there's no resale market.
Hey,
So
kids, we're taking a road trip.
if you have to be a Mexican national though, or live
I
in
wonder
Mexico.
if it would be. Oh, okay. I was like, I wonder if it'd be cheaper to fly to Mexico and watch a game than it is to go to a game in LA.
Well, you just got to get the hookup from somebody who lives in Mexico. Hey, buy me tickets so I can go to Guadalajara, so I can go to Monterrey or whatever it is, and see a game, and not have to engage in FIFA's not. I mean, you're still engaging in FIFA's system, just not the one they're using to gouge the people in America.
All I really want for the World Cup is being close to one of the venues. Is like someone invite me to a party. Someone invite me to like one of the nice parties that's going to be happening.
Yeah,
like,
see, like,
let your boy in.
I might be absolutely fine. Like I wouldn't mind being in the game, but for me, the sport is not just seeing the game. It's the camaraderie. It's a community, right? So if they're like, hey, we're gonna have a watch party for the U.S. game, and I get to MC it or just be part of it, be a VIJ, I'm going. Like I'm cool with that. I might be a little bit annoyed if the game's right around the corner and I'm not going in, but I'm gonna be vibing with the people who are there who are like, yeah, screw this dynamic pricing, screw the tickets. I don't need to be paying luxury prices for a nosebleed seat. So I'm going to enjoy this on a big screen next to somebody who I don't know, but who I'm going to be hugging in about 20 minutes when the U.S. scores a goal. That's what I'm
I'd rather spend a few $100 and get each one of my kids with the newest jersey, the kit that comes out, whatever that's going to be, and let them have that, because they'll have that forever and go create a memory while going to a watch party. I'm not telling you those of you guys that are spending the money are doing the wrong thing. I'm just saying it's just tough to justify it.
Yeah, I get that. All right, so look, World Cup's coming, whether we want it to or not. We do want it to, I guess, just not this way. Not like this, not like this. But we do want the United States to do well in the World Cup. And it would certainly help if we had some momentum going into the World Cup. And last night in Columbus gave us just a little bit of a hint that things can get better. It can get better, Jared. And maybe it's as my very, very smart friend, Jared J. Rodius Dubois said, play a back three and things will be right with the world.
I mean, I almost nailed that lineup. I was pretty close. You know, I did not expect the three-man back line to be the game that Des doesn't start. I thought that was interesting. I thought Freeman had his best game in the U.S. men's national team uniform.
Absolutely.
And may have played him into some of the rosters you and I are both going to show a little bit later, where, if you guys don't know, later on the show, Jason and I have both created a U.S. a 23-man roster, as if we're going to the World Cup next year and what it would be. So you'll get to see both of those. A three-man back line kind of works, in the right scenario. I think there's a lot more offense as a result of it, a lot more ball movement, a lot more pressure. I thought the ball pressure was probably the best I've seen from the U.S. in a while.
Right, because I think they understood how to do it within the structure that they had been given in that game. And Tim Ream even talked about that after the match and said we had a stability in the team that we didn't have when we started out against South Korea. And look, it's important to remember that was not the best Japan team that started that game, that they rolled out a rotated team from the Mexico match. And we always do this with friendlies where it's like, how much does it matter? What does it mean? Et cetera, et cetera. I'm going to take it for what it looks like, which is a progress in terms of just being comfortable together. Like whatever, even if it wasn't a win or like, I don't know. I just want to take that for what it is and not try to be too precious about it, even as we should absolutely acknowledge that it could have been a tougher test if Mitoma and Minamino and Endo are all starting from the get.
Yeah. But listen, they can only play the team in front of them, right? They can't control that part. But at the same time, I think the team did a lot to, I think it no matter what team was in front of them, they needed a confidence game. I think the fan base needed a confidence game as well.
Mhm.
And if you were going to check a few boxes of things that needed to happen in this game to end this window with any level of confidence, it's get a shutout, get a
Yeah.
win, get a couple goals, have a striker score.
Yes.
I think some of those things, and we ticked those boxes across the board. Yeah, maybe it could have been 5-0. I mean, it probably could have been 5-2, be honest with you. They had a couple good opportunities too. But I think that you got what you wanted out of this game, not being able to control who you're playing against. And I left the game happy, but not it hasn't erased my memory of what's been going on lately.
Sure.
But
Sure.
I can last till October now and see if we can build off this. But the time is now done. I believe Pochettino has said it as well. The experimentation time is done.
Yes. Right.
So let's see. We've done the experimentation. Let's see Project Poach and see where it's going next. The next window is going to tell us a lot about whether or not he's full of
That
shit.
is so this moment, and it was a weird one, right? It was the choice of the roster which set off some questions, right? Some absences from the team that were like, huh, what's going on, Poach? I'm looking, this is my last chance, don't discount MLS. It's a competitive league. All that stuff happens. We get the performance against South Korea, which was poor almost across the board. He gets all testy and feisty about criticism, which felt odd that, hey, this is a guy who has managed in some pretty big places. How is he so susceptible to the criticism that's coming from American media? And then he sort of clarifies and he's like, well, it's really just about, that you don't know what's going on, that this team, that, come for me, don't come for the players. And some people were very unprofessional. Now, he didn't say who, but I think people are kind of guessing
Like legitimate media?
I'm assuming that. Like I'm
Because
assuming
I don't think
that
Coach is hanging out on the Reddits and on the Twitter pages.
No, I don't think he's scrolling YouTube. I really don't. I don't think he's scrolling YouTube, but I do think it's possible. I do think it's possible that he's checking ESPN and some other places like that. And
I think the sentiment is echoed right here in the chat with Offside Flag, who says, "Last night bot poached the October window for me. If he wastes the next window, then I'm done with him." Let's be clear. I don't think U.S. Soccer's done with him, no matter what. I think he's going to the World Cup and he's finishing.
Right.
Unless he gets a better offer from a team in Europe and he decides to leave, he'll be coaching in the World Cup. But I think I can see where he's coming from in terms of like, okay, if this is truly a project and a process, you ended this right here with a decent result, playing a formation that actually works for the players you brought in, because you did bring an Arston, you brought in Dest, you brought in Freeman. You didn't bring like any like natural, really defensive fullbacks. You brought guys that want to go up the field.
Right. Yeah.
So, and you played them in a manner in the last game that made sense for the team you brought. Now, what do? I want to see in October, is he going back to a back four?
Yeah.
Or is he going to build on this? Because I've said for a while, Max Arfston's in this team because he is a Jedi Robinson placeholder, because they're going to play similar areas of the field. Not the same way, but same areas of the field. And I think,
but I do think that the way Jedi plays changes the complexion of that side of the field, just because Jedi's positioning, he's not used to playing that high up the field to start.
Well, let's not forget though, in Jedi, one of the few appearances we saw Jedi Robinson play, when he played very well, he actually was almost like a defensive midfielder from that left fullback position. He was playing very centrally, actually part of the build out through the midfield. It was a very different way of seeing him. And I think that was last October or September when that happened.
It's been a while. Yeah. Like, again, those absences, maybe Robinson, because he's coming back from the injury, certainly leaving out McKennie, leaving out a Cardoso, whatever, that just leaves open some questions. And again, I'm just kind of talking about the timeline here of the things that happen. And then last night in this game, we get a decent performance. We get a step forward. We get a striker who scores a goal. And it's not that all is good with the world, but there is this sense that, okay, maybe he's figured something out. And October is the window. Like if he's saying that this was the last chance to look at new players he hasn't seen before, well, then he should have a group of guys that we are familiar with next month. Now, maybe some of these guys played their way into that team, but we can talk about that.
What's interesting though, with that 3-5-2 lineup, when you get that space wide and you get those fullbacks out there, first goal is created from the outside in. It's not through the middle. It is a beating a guy old school, beat a guy on the wing, cross with the first time touch, and you finish at the 12-yard box. Like, that is the way you want to see that happen if you're going to try to take advantage of that wing play. And I think because that wing play was working so well, that's why you see the second goal get created from just the inside slot of that side, where Pulisic is beating guys just inside and Balogun is getting that ball in behind. Those things unlock each other, but you really, really have to take advantage of the wings if you're going to play that style.
So the thing I said about the way Poach responded to some of the criticism, and this is what he said: "You are damaging your country and damaging your players. We need to be positive. We need to be all together because the country deserves that we are all on one side trying to help arrive at the World Cup in the best condition and be competitive to do something that makes our fans proud." And this rubbed people the wrong way because it's like, wait a second. Are you you're just trying to rah-rah everybody so that you're avoiding, like, you're protected from criticism? What's going on? And I saw Pablo Maurer retweet a Fox graphic with this, or put it on Blue Sky. And he said, "This is a joke. It's been the attitude of folks in American soccer for years. Our critical press and fan base will do much more to grow the game in the national team than a bunch of cheerleaders." He says, "Fuck this grow the game narrative that's been peddled for decades. Face the music." Now, a lot of American soccer fans have that attitude, Jared. Damn it, a lot of people have that attitude. I'll play it.
WNBC. WNBC.
Nearly saved it, but it was just there. It was just a little too much. Too much going on there. And then Charlie Boehm said, "This man has managed in Barcelona, London, and Paris, started his career playing at Newell's freaking Old Boys. I'm pretty gobsmacked at the idea that a few harsh takes from in and around the Broso community got him so upset." And again, I think it might be Alexi Lawless, as somebody said in the chat, because Alexi apparently danced around the idea of firing him. It might be Herculez Gomez, who called him a fraud on some level. Now, all these guys are doing this 1-2 step thing where it's like kind of not saying it saying it, but without saying it. It's a really annoying thing. And I'm not trying to call anybody out here because we all engage in this clickbait and bait and switch thing. It's just annoying. But the way that I framed this was to say that he probably thinks of American soccer, Poach does, as immature and unserious. And he's annoyed that he's being called out by a culture that he doesn't feel has the standing to question him.
I think that's probably fairly honest to how he feels, like when he's in a room by himself, free to speak freely. But what I want to go back to with his quote on, could you have his quote still up? Do you mind saying that one more time about us having to be patient or doing damage to the country? That part.
Yeah, it was. I'll pull that back up. He said,
okay, we don't have it.
No, he said that it was a matter of being behind the team.
I think if he had come out a year ago and said, "Hey guys, this is my plan. I am going to experiment for a while. I am going to give me till September of next year, and you're going to see some wild stuff because I need to see every single player I need to see, and then come next October, you're going to see what I actually have. But I need this time to really go through and look at the pool." If he said something like that, I think more people be like, "Okay, listen, man, he's doing what he said." At the end of the day, there's a bunch of different rosters, a bunch of different players. He's doing what he said he was going to do. But we've had coaches in the past, like with Berhalter, who already knew the pool, and we got very used to seeing as strong as an 11 you can bring every time, as strong as the 23s you can bring every time, and less experimentation. So it kind of, I think it pushes us out of our comfort zone to be like, what's going on here, dude? This isn't what we're used to seeing. I don't know that he had this all laid out and stuff like that. I got no idea. He could be shooting from the hip and full of shit. Yeah. I have no idea. Yeah.
Well,
but I think it's unfair for him to take that tact of being mad at us for not for doing damage when it feels like he's doing damage with the way he's calling.
Let's also remember that. So again, I think it's very easy to go to this place, and this is what I was kind of saying. He's better than us dumb Americans, so he doesn't have to tell us anything. I don't know. I think he's not exactly that guy. Like, I don't get the sense that he's that so Jose Mourinho like that he would be like, I can't, how dare you question me? But I definitely think that there is a baked in sense that he is doing us a favor. Like, I do think that he's getting $6 million to do the favor, but he's doing us a favor. At the same time, he is new to international soccer. This is his first international job, and it's a different thing. It's a different rhythm. It's a different culture. It's a different way of doing things. And maybe that is hard for him to grasp. He can't see his guys every day. He's got to pick and choose from a group of players that some are hurt, some are whatever. He hasn't seen them. Like, he's called in guys that were like, what the hell is he doing? But he doesn't know. He's not going to just take our word for it. I mean, again, maybe that's also because he doesn't think we know what we're talking about when we say this player's not good enough for the national team. He doesn't trust us. But that's part of this. And so it's combined to make this weird stew of like hurt feelings on every side. And here's the thing, as long as the team is winning, it won't matter. If they're winning, it won't matter. Nobody will care about any of this. But obviously they didn't win. They looked bad against South Korea. He took some criticism. He responded poorly to it. But what you want to see is the team respond. And that's what they had. They did. They responded. Here they are having a better game, not some game that puts us into the stratosphere or makes us think that we're going to
technically on paper. They beat a team that was higher ranked than them in the FIFA rankings. Like, it's not often the U.S. team can say that these days. Now, we know that there's more underlying context to that statement, but he could put that feather in his cap and just move on. The team can leave on a positive note. Let's take a month. Let's see, because in October, we're going to see, how does he really feel about Weston McKennie? How does he really feel about Yunus Musa? How does he really feel about Johnny Cardoso? How does he feel about Christian Roldan? Is this just a courtesy call up to kind of figure out, like, we need to work some stuff out or whatever? Well, really read him. He'll be in the next one.
Yeah. Chase is saying, does he not have a computer he can watch tape on? I feel it's easier than ever to know a bunch and put in your player pool. Now, obviously we live in an era where there's tape on everybody. Obviously, every player that he could possibly call in has reams and reams of tape that he can watch. Is that what they're called?
Well, unfortunately, there must be reams of tape of Joe Scally doing donuts in a golf cart, because that seems to matter.
Apparently, I guess. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. That Poach also does have this kind of old school thing where it's like, I'm the boss. If you do something I don't like, you're on my shit list.
I think he wants a level of professionalism too. And when you think about Weston McKennie, I think we all take it with a grain of salt. He's a fun guy, locker room guy, teams like, but I think he has a track record of rubbing coaches the wrong way with his initial personality, which is unfortunate, because underneath that, I think there's a talented football player whose personality can be used correctly in a locker room and on a team. I just think most coaches, especially European ones, aren't ready for that American bravado.
Yeah. So again, this is where it comes. Like, so Chasely is saying he's got a computer, he can watch players, and then Dan chiming in, tape isn't the same. That's why games aren't played on paper. Leadership can't be observed on tape. Pochettino is not a guy who's just going to trust what a game tape says about a player. Yeah. He's going to want to see that player, talk to that player, give that player instructions, and see how that player responds. Like, he's a lab guy. This is
and the other part is too, like, tape for a coach, tape's not good enough because you only see what the ball is. Like, how is the player moving when they're not in the frame? How are they moving? How are they, like, for a defender? How are they positioning themselves goal side? How are they managing keeping that offside line tight? When the striker isn't in the frame and it's on the other end, are they coming back and picking up their marker coming back?
Yeah,
there's things that are happening that you just don't pick up on tape.
Well, I mean, there are options, and I think that he would have access. Modern era, you can get an all 22 look. Like, you can see the whole field.
And the number one thing you don't get is, how do they work in practice? How do they work in practice?
To me, that's probably the thing that matters to him. No, it's obviously it's how you play on game day, but you have to train.
How do you fight for a spot? How do you fight for a spot?
Exactly. You have to show that mentality, because if you didn't, you wouldn't be, you don't deserve to be in the team if you don't. And he wants to see that. And again, if he sees a player and he calls up the coach in Vancouver and says, tell me about Tristan Blackman. And that coach sings the praises of Tristan Blackman and says, oh, he's an incredible training ground player. And he does all this work. And he's always, then Pochettino is going to go, well, he looks pretty good on the tape. I'm seeing him playing games for Vancouver in a back three. Maybe he's a guy I need to take a look at. And that's not to say Tristan Blackman's a bad player and shouldn't be in the national team picture at all. It's just to say that at 29 or 30 years old or whatever it is, everybody's shocked that he's suddenly in the team just because his team's having a good season. But that's not how Pochettino works. Like he works in a he's pre-existing wisdom is not something he gives a shit about. So that is where we are at this point. Now, I guess we can move on. Okay, let's talk a little bit more about last night, just to kind of put a bow on this. I think you already talked about some key points that are obviously positives coming out of this. I saw an opinion on Roldan. So give me a thought about Christian Roldan, because
I think Christian Roldan is best, and this is going to sound like a bullshit cop out, the kind of thing people say, but I really truly believe this when it comes to Christian Roldan. Christian Roldan is best when you don't talk about him the whole night.
Okay, I see.
I think he is just that player. And there's a couple times where I thought, yeah, he gave the ball cheaply, but there's other times where I thought like he got in good position there to win that ball back or like to start an attack. Like I think he was fine. I don't think he was great. I don't think he was bad. What I do like is that I saw him off the ball pointing, talking to guys, calling stuff out. Like he was being the veteran that if you're going to bring Christian Roldan into a team, you're not bringing Gio Reyna. You're bringing a guy and there's like, hey, I need you to help lead this team, get some veteran presence in the midfield and don't fuck up. Yeah. That's all he had to do, you know? And I think in that regard, he made Tyler Adams' job easier. And I don't think anything spectacular. I don't think he did anything bad, you know, but I think overall, he did the thing he needed to do.
You're just asking him to sort of be involved, occupy space, be a wall pass, be a facilitator. You know, you're not acting, and again, like that's hard for us to grasp because what we want is a next level player who's pulling strings and doing a bunch of stuff, and maybe on both ends of the field. And he does cover tons of ground. And as somebody said, he let Tyler do his thing because he's able to be involved as a. I do think he left a lot of passes short. It was killing me towards the end of the game how many passes he was leaving short. Yeah. But he definitely has a better sense on how to move the ball. Maybe that's what it was. I also think the guy's probably tired. Like I don't think he had a full tank.
He was nursing injury going into League's Cup. But I will say we can't sit here and say that we liked the ball pressure last night way more than the last few games and not realize that there's two people involved in that, Christian Roldan and Florian Balogun. Balogun did so much work up front, both making moves offensively and tracking back and doing defensive work. He closed down balls up front all the time. So you can't have both. You can't down Christian Roldan and then say, oh, we have better ball pressure. He's part of that.
Right. Yes, exactly.
I don't think he's a starter for this team.
That's a fair point. You're right, though, that he wasn't good enough on the ball to stand out that way, but you have to take into account everything he does off the ball or in a defensive setup. So that absolutely is true. Because that is the psychological trick that happens is you start to rate a player solely on the touches he has or the things he does with the ball. That's so
denying service is a big part of that job, being in between two passing lanes and taking away both at the same time because you're playing both so well. Playing that space between denying the middle of the field and forcing balls wide, like that's his job. So that's what I'm saying. If you're not talking about him, that's probably a good thing. And that's maybe one of the only positions on the field I'll say about, goalkeeper. If you don't talk about the goalkeeper all game, that's a good thing too. But
for sure. And I just saw somebody earlier say, are you worried that Freeze had to be, very good last night? No, that doesn't bother me. You're going to give up chances. It's impossible against a good team. And there were enough. That's why you look for the best possible goalkeeper, because you need to make a couple saves to keep yourself in a game or to keep an advantage. Yeah, they hit the crossbar. So did we, right? Jack McGinn came this close from an incredible goal off a dummy by Damian Downs, who barely gets mentioned. Will barely get mentioned by a lot of people. So there's a lot of things.
I think what the bigger thing to take away is like when you think about the chances Japan created, the only one that really concerns me is that there was one in particular. This is the one that ended up from a 6-yard poke that Freeze stopped and Ream kind of touched it away. It came from a Chris Richards attempt to split a ball 40 yards into the midfield. And I get it. You want Tim Ream and Chris Richards to be able to pull that pass off, but that is a risky pass. I mean, that's something that we're going to have to be very, very careful because immediately that ball came right back down our throats. So, there's just things to learn here and figuring stuff out. I thought Chris Richards looked amazing. I thought he looked really good in this. If we're just talking about guys, we haven't mentioned the name Zendejas yet. Zendejas did a lot to eclipse a lot of the hate that he's gotten.
I thought he was okay most of the time outside the goal, which obviously was incredibly well taken. He's very busy. He gets on the ball. I just didn't see enough to be like, okay, he demands a place. And we'll talk about our rosters and whether he makes our rosters. In fact, we should probably get into that because we had somebody over in the Bestie Slack. Who was it that in the Bestie Slack asked us to do? Clayton asked us to do our 23 tonight. And obviously this is premature.
So this is like
healthy.
I'm projecting what I think will be the U20. Sorry, he's saying U23, 23-man roster at the World Cup. Not like who's hottest right now. What do I think the World Cup roster will be when we leave next year?
So there is at least some question out there in the world as to whether or not this roster will be like Qatar and be 26 players rather than 23. And I think that's what Dan is saying here. 23, and I think he meant to write 26.
Keep it simple.
We're going to go 23, not because we're definitely sure it's going to be 23, but because we can't guarantee it's going to be 26. And I would rather be tougher with the cuts and try to make those decisions than the opposite way around. So we want to start with yours, or we want to start with, let's start with yours. Start with yours?
Sure. That's okay.
Okay. This is Jared's World Cup roster as he sent it to me this afternoon. Whether he has changed his mind about any of these players, we can talk about.
Listen, there's ones on here that are definitely question marks for me. And guys, I made choices between. I'll try to justify them the best I can as we go. I'd be most interested to see if our goalkeepers are even close, because that's one of the things that's just wild right now, like in terms of who's getting called up. But for me, on the goalkeeper side, for the podcasters who can't see the graphic, we've got Matt Freese, Matt Turner, and Patrick Schulte. So for me, obviously, Pochettino has Freese top of mind. Matt Turner's the guy that's been there. He's got the experience over any other goalkeeper. He has the most experience right now with the U.S. national team. Been a World Cup before. For me, Patrick Schulte may be the best American goalkeeper right now, and one for the future. So that's why I think about taking him. That third keeper is often someone that is either locker room or experience for the future kind of thing. So those are why I went with those three.
Okay. Now, here's where, if you want to go to defenders next, here is where we might have something to talk about. And I'm going to I'll wait for you. Go through your defenders, and then
the biggest thing is I only have 3 center backs. That's
what Thomas is saying. Like, what the hell, man? You're the one that's pitching the 3-man back line, the three center backs on the field.
I'm not saying that it's the best lineup. I'm just saying for the roster he brought, it was a 3-man back line.
I see. Okay. Interesting.
So for me, I decided to go a little bit richer in other areas, mainly because, like, okay, in a pinch, if we had to bring Tyler Adams back there, you bring Tyler Adams back there or something like that. I'm not sure. I went back and forth. I just don't know a 4th center back that is really worth the pick.
Okay, that's going to be something we'll talk about when we get to my roster. We can talk about that. But yes, go ahead.
The center back position is so thin. It's just like, okay, am I going to bring a Tristan Blackman with 2 caps, or am I going to bring CCV, who's looked terrible every time he's been with the national team, versus not bringing one more midfielder or something like that? So I know that this is definitely a tough one here in terms of this.
I will also say it is not impossible to imagine Anthony Robinson, maybe Alex Freeman playing as a center back in a back three. It's possible. I'm not saying that it's perfect or the best option, but you have 2 guys that are fullbacks that could deputize as center backs in a back three if necessary.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So the defenders are in the center backs: Tim Bream, Chris Richards, Mark McKenzie. Mark McKenzie is a tough thing. Like, even picking the 3rd center back, it's like, I mean, Miles Robinson, sure. I mean, CCV, I don't think so. Like, Austin Trusty hasn't sniffed this team. Like, the center back situation, how is, in all these pool call-ups, how has Justin Reagan not gotten a call-up? Like,
yeah. When you talk about like the Sounders players that might have been a good addition, Jackson Reagan might have been ahead of.
How did he not get a call up at one of these camps? Like, it's just the center back position is really, really tough right now. So I went with Mark McKenzie because in the limited times that he's played, I feel like he's done well. He's playing well in Europe. So I went with that. I'm not passionate about anything at the center back position outside of Tim Ream and Chris Richards. So then I took 2 left backs, 2 right backs. I took Anthony Robinson and Max Arston on the left. Again, I don't think Max Arston is necessarily the best defender in the world, but I think he's the closest thing to a backup for Anthony Robinson should you need to pull the trigger on one. You don't have to change the way your team plays. On the right, I took Alex Freeman and Serginho Dest. I feel those are pretty chalk at right back. Scally not getting Pochettino doesn't rate him. He doesn't rate him.
Well,
And I
okay,
think
it's either that or the golf cart. It's either that or the golf cart. If you believe that nonsense, which I mean, it's
we'll
nonsense
see.
if he did it. It's
But
nonsense
has
if he got
Alex
left
Freeman
off
done
because of it.
anything not to increase confidence every time you've seen him play?
And so far, yes. So far, he's grown into the.
I don't have any
grown
reason.
into the
I feel like he's a guy that should make that jump to Europe soon, but not till after the World Cup because I want him to get minutes and stuff like that. I'm okay if Alex Freeman goes to this World Cup. Midfield. So defenders, I know I'm thin.
Okay, well, look. There's a little bit of dissension in the chat about Scally. Okay, and they're talking about the versatility, certainly as a defender. But I will say that I don't know if it's an argument in your favor or not. Alex Freeman is much more dynamic going forward than Joe Scally is. I don't think there's any real argument about that.
Yeah, if you played Alex Freeman at the right center back position, the right center back in a 3-man back line, I'm not worried about that. And have Serginho Dest on the right side as well. I think you can manage. But it's a statement not so much on I don't feel we need a center back. It's a statement on the center backs available are not good enough.
Okay.
Let's see. Midfielders. I took there's going to be definitely one in here that I'm going to have to justify, I think. But Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie, Aiden Morris, Diego Luna, Malik Tillman, Sebastian Berhalter, Luca De La Torre. So I did not take Johnny Cardoso. I think he's looked like hot doo-doo every time he's played for the U.S. men's national team. And the fact that Atletico Madrid is on his shirt doesn't impress me.
Okay, that's fair. I agree with that to a certain extent. Do you think that maybe if he was lined up in Tyler's position with somebody like Roldan doing the work that Roldan did last night, that he might look better than he has in the national team to this point?
No, like he just doesn't look good. I don't know. I'm not going to reinvent the team to find a way to get Johnny Cardoso in there. Like,
okay, all right. It's your team.
He's done nothing at the national team level that has given you confidence that he can do something. So I don't care that he plays for Atletico Madrid. I really don't. I would rather take Aiden Morris, who plays in Middlesbrough and has looked good when he plays for the national team. So I know that's going to be like, how do you take Aiden Morris?
That's the one, man. That's the one. I don't read, and I know I think we might be coming at this at slightly different angles because I always get caught in that trap of like, is this Poach's team or my team? And maybe even if it was my team, and I've liked Aiden Morris, I don't think Poach rates him. I don't think Poach has him on the radar, and I think the same is true for Tanner Tessman to this point. Like both those guys who are playing at decent levels in Europe in positions of need for the national team aren't really getting looked.
Chat, like, is this dude like high? Antonio Yat says, has Luna actually looked good? What the fuck? Are we in two different multiverses?
Don't pick fights with people in the chat. Don't.
The guys looked at one of the only. Did you see the freaking through ball to Damian Downs last night? What the hell?
Okay, he had one moment. He's good for a couple of moments.
Sub. He's only going to get one moment.
I know. Okay, in that particular match, and obviously, again, we can talk about whether or not the system was the problem against South Korea.
I'm not going to take Gio Reyna. I have. Why would I waste a spot on Gio Reyna? Like the guy his career.
All right, so now we're doing that. Now we're talking about players who aren't on the roster. Let's go through the rest of the guys that are on the roster before you get to yours, because I definitely need time to talk about mine because mine is decidedly different than yours.
All right, forwards. I have Christian Pulisic, Tim Weah, Florian Balogun, Ricardo Pepi, Josh Sargent, Alex Zendejas. And Zendejas is not someone I'm passionate about, but we are just very, very thin.
Okay, I would like you to justify Josh Sargent because that is certainly a question people have about why you would include. If you're going to say Johnny Cardoso doesn't deserve to be in the team because he looks like hot doo-doo, what about Josh Sargent?
I think unlike Cardoso, we have a lot of options in the midfield. I think it's striker. It's very thin. And these are the three best strikers we have potential to do. And what Josh Sargent allows you to do is play a different style than when you do with Balogun. Balogun wants to face goal, make runs in behind defenders. But if you want to play through the striker, I think Josh Sargent is better.
No, I understand. I do understand that maybe he's probably the most adept back to goal striker we have, but I don't know that justifies bringing him if he's not goal dangerous. And he just hasn't been goal dangerous.
Well, okay, hold on though. Was anyone on the team goal dangerous in South Korea?
No.
Then why is Josh Sargent the one that we're talking about only?
I understand. I understand. It maybe it's a little unfair to him, and you can talk about service and various other things that go with being a striker. He works hard off the ball. He is good with his feet. It just hasn't clicked with him. And so when and I know that, like, you might convince yourself you're the smarter person. I'm not saying you're doing this, but you might convince yourself that you're the smarter person because you're looking past the team performance to look at Josh Sargent's skill set and go, he's still a guy I want on my team. But man, again, let's go. I mean, not to bring up somebody you've already picked a fight with, but Antonio said he hasn't scored in 17 games. That's a lot of games to go goalless for a striker. It's a lot.
Absolutely.
Pepe
Absolutely.
hasn't done it.
But
Balogun hasn't done it.
But also the entire team has not been scoring, not just John Sargent. So I don't know it's just him. But what I can say is that Johnny Cardoso gave up 2 goals in the Gold Cup.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. By the way, shout out to Vince from Toronto. Our man Vince from Toronto, old school bestie, going way, way back, is in the chat. I appreciate that. Thank you for being here, man.
And also, in
Catching
terms
us
of
live.
defending the 3 strikers, I think I'm not bringing Josh Sargent because I think Josh Sargent should start. I hope people understand that.
No, of course. He's
With
a bench player.
with a roster, you're trying to give yourself as many different options for as many different scenarios that may come up over a World Cup pool play in our deep run. Josh Sargent, Pepe, and Balogun. Unfortunately, we have 3 very different strikers that are going to be successful in 3 different styles of play. So it's just, for me, I want to give different options. Same thing with Zendejas. I don't know that he's better.
I understand.
Right at the right forward position than bringing Musso, who Pucci has been playing there. But he's a different style of player than the other options.
And again, I think you're just like a lot of people, and even the people in the chat who are like, "Oh, but you're applying your criteria in different ways. You're not being equal with it." Sometimes it's gut more than anything else, and you're saying you want
positions.
No, I understand that, but again, like the idea that so you're not allowing yourself to project out to Gio Reyna having a good season at Borussia Mönchengladbach and somehow playing his way into this team in the last couple windows. You're not because you're right. You're going by right now.
That's
you're going
crystal
by
ball
right
shit. I mean, I did also say this. I did do it with Weston McKennie. I think he will make his way back into this team.
Yeah,
before the end of the season.
Of course. Yeah, and that's the thing, that there's a level of faith you have
I
with
have
McKennie
more
that you don't
confidence
have
in
with
that happening than Gio Reyna happening.
Yeah, okay. And I agree with that. So let's go to mine because it's a little different. I'll admit.
Here's those question marks.
Hold on. I have one. First of all, don't do that. I have one. Goalkeepers: Matt Freese, Matt Turner, Patrick Schulte.
We actually matched. Okay.
We matched on that. The other name is Zach Steffen. I would, if you're going to bring a third keeper, you don't bring Zach Steffen as your third keeper, especially after 2022 and the whole we can't bring 2 number 1 situation. Okay. Defenders: Ream, Richards, McKenzie. Now I do have Austin Trusty and a question mark next to his name.
Yeah.
Because while you were like, well, this team that he called up now is good for a back 3, you're not necessarily projecting a roster that's great for a back 3 because you're not sure that there's the center back depth. Where I'm sitting here thinking, we look really good in the back 3. Maybe he wants to stick with that. He's going to need center backs if he plays that way at the World Cup. And as of right now, yeah, I'm stretching for a 4th. I'm stretching for a 4th center back.
I think there's a scenario where Anthony Robinson plays the left side of a back 3, and you have Max Arston further up in front of him.
I'm sorry, say that again.
I think there's a scenario where you could play Anthony Robinson on the left side of a 3-man back line, and have Max Arston playing exactly where he was in the game.
Yes, right. Yes. So I got Trusty in there with a question mark just because he hasn't proven himself at that level. And I'm not saying it's just, they're all sort of interchangeable, but you mentioned Miles Robinson. If you look at this team, there's not a ton of guys who can go win a ball in the air, which you might worry about at some level. I got Scally. I just think the versatility and the level he plays at, despite all this stuff, I went back and forth. I had Freeman on this list before I switched.
I did as well. I had Scally and Freeman as well. But again, I just get the feeling that Pochettino doesn't like certain people.
Yeah. And again, this is a little bit me trying to read Pochettino's mind as much as it is like, and I'm not sure that this would be the exact team I take, but I'm not in training, and there's a lot of things that I don't see that maybe he thinks he knows better.
From chasing the trap, he says, "Man, Musa went from a lock-on setter to not even in the conversation." Have you watched AC Milan?
And somebody mentioned, well, he's not there anymore, but somebody mentioned that MMA locked down England and kept them to 0 goals, and that's something of an achievement, I suppose.
I haven't seen that Musa in a long time, man. Part of it's Pochettino's fault. He's been playing him out of position. He's played him at that wide forward position, but even the thing about Musa is that he gives you great penetration on the dribble, but he also takes a lot of chances to lose the ball. You know, that's the
If there is
dichotomy
not
there.
an easy option, a wide option that is in space, or something he can do that does not require him to read a lane or time a pass, he can't do anything with the ball when he gets there. He
Yeah.
can push the ball forward, but you've got to have some, and that what that sometimes means is that players who would otherwise be making runs in the blocks have to check to be his option. And I'm not sure that's always great. So I got Scally, I got Jedi Robinson, of course, I got Serginho Dest playing his way back into the team when he's healthy, and I got Max Arfsted, who seems to be a Poach guy. Poach is all in on Max Arfsted. And again, I'm setting this up in my head as a back three. Midfielders are Tyler Adams, Weston McKennie. I got Cardoso. Now, you're not impressed by the Atleti thing, and I understand why. If it's about his national team performance, I don't know. I just think he's good enough, and somehow it's going to be better. I don't know why. That's faith. That's not necessarily based on evidence. I have Luna. Now, people don't think Luna has been that great for the national team. You know, he's got a couple of moments, whatever. But again, he's a Poach guy. Poach likes the fight that Diego Luna shows. He likes the attitude Luna brings. He likes what the character he provides to the group. And these things matter to Pochettino. That is very, very
I think Pochettino likes Musa as well. I really do. And I think if there's any player that could play his way into both of our rosters that isn't on it right now, it's Yunus Musa. A different turn at Atalanta. We'll see what he gets there.
Yeah, and that's the thing. We're doing this right now. And this very well could be different in 3 months, much less all the way to the World Cup. Now, I got Jack McGlynn on my team. And again, Malik Tillman also. Malik Tillman is definitely in this team.
Yeah.
Jack McGlynn. And then I went back and that's the spot where maybe I can put Gio Reyna into this team. Maybe I can get Gio Reyna. But also we'll get to the forwards. And I think if you have Luna and you have Zendejas, you're not also bringing Reyna unless he is so clearly better than those two options.
Sure. If he has an amazing season with Mönchengladbach, I will eat my words. But I'm just not willing to bet on it.
Jack McGlynn is, come on, man, whatever. Jack McGlynn can play not great or look bad, but again, Pochettino likes what he brings because of the wand, because of the things, because he's a chaos agent. Because if you're setting up defensively, it doesn't matter if Jack McGlynn is going to pick you apart. You're not maybe not tracking every run he makes, but that's where he is dangerous, because next thing you know, he's 20 yards from goal and somebody sets him up and he hits a wonder goal. And I'm not talking this. He's not a starter. Like you said about some of your guys. I'm not saying Jack McGlynn's going to start for the national team at the World Cup. I'm saying that Pochettino will want him on the bench to have somebody who can do what Jack McGlynn does.
Too. Set piece taker as well.
Exactly.
But here's the thing. So we differ on 3 areas here. I chose Morris over Cardoso. Okay. We same position, different choices. You took McGlynn. You took one less midfielder. So you left out De La Torre and you left out Berhalter.
Yeah, I don't rate Berhalter right now as a World Cup level player. Decent enough, showed okay, but nothing special. Again, I think Roldan showed that Berhalter is not the level by doing what he did against Japan last night. And
B team though,
I understand. Yeah, but this is, by the way, Vince is saying wow to no Brendan Aronson. Nobody who's been paying attention to the national team is saying wow to no Brendan Aronson. We're all kind of like, yep, that makes sense. No Brendan Aronson. He's not that level, and he hasn't been. My forwards are Pulisic, Weah, Balogun, Pepe, Ajamang, and Zendejas. And you went with Sargent. I went with Ajamang. He's raw, man, but he's got something about him. Like the thing about Sargent is he's a much more refined player than Patrick Ajamang. Right. And I think they're roughly the same age, or maybe Sargent's a year older. Ajamang's definitely late in the curve, but Ajamang's got something. He's got I don't know. There's something about him. Even the fact that he is kind of a giraffe on roller skates makes him unpredictable, I think, in a way that I think has value as a bench player, not as a starter.
If you go back to mine real quick, I want to make one point about why I felt comfortable taking three number 9s in Balogun, Pepe, and Sargent, because in my midfield you can easily move Tillman or Luna into either of those wide forward positions. Yep. And I still have the depth because I took an extra midfielder than you did. But you have two guys that can play those positions in the midfield should you need it. So I don't know.
You took five. Oh, sorry, I didn't mean to switch. You took 5 central midfielders. That seems like a lot to me. I know you said you can push players around, but that still seems like a lot to me.
I don't know. I think that's one of the most that's one of the most tiring positions over the course of a World Cup, and you may have to make some move. It's also where you're going to pick up most of your cards. So
Yeah,
I'm not
I
mad
guess.
at that.
So between these two, I mean, a couple. Obviously, the midfield group is different. The defender group is a little bit different. Again, I'll admit that it doesn't look great. I got a question mark next to Austin Trusty's name. I don't think it's Cameron Carter Vickers. I don't think it's him, but I'm not sure who it is.
I don't know who it
And
is either. That's why. Listen, I know I should have taken a 4 center back. I know it, but I honestly don't feel good about anyone at that level.
yeah, okay. I mean,
It's
again,
the number one position that is open for audition, which is so weird to me now. Why, if we're gonna audition Miles Robinson, how are we not auditioning like a Justin Reagan? I don't get it.
Jackson Reagan. Yeah,
Jackson Reagan, excuse me.
yeah, that would be the one. Yeah, the other thing I wanted to point out is that we both somehow believe that Alex Zendejas, not just on the goal, I guess, maybe, has played his way, I mean, into the 23 as of today. Maybe not, again, we'll see what happens come May.
For me, it's not because I think he can start for this team. I think he could if he had to, but he is able to do something the other players. There's not a left-footed striker in your lineup, right? Or in either of our lineups if we don't take him. Like, it's the ability to play that same style as Christian Pulisic on the other side. If you truly want to be successful, if you're going to commit to that 3-5-2, you need guys like Pulisic and Alex Zendejas who can cut in on that foot from the outside. And for me, that's why I think he's worth taking, because Jack McGlynn, who's also left-footed, is a midfielder. He's not going to be as successful beating guys on a dribble or anything like that.
Yeah. Okay. I mean,
And also,
he
plays for arguably the best team in CONCACAF and maybe one of their best players.
I don't know, man. He's been on that level for a while. It's just, yeah, again, like it does feel on some level like he's coming out of nowhere, because he got a shot. He didn't do anything. He kind of drifted out of the picture. He comes back. I don't know. But that's the nature of this, right? That's the nature of this, is that I had somebody, and I won't say his name because I already called you his name by accident. I had somebody tell me, like, this guy whose name does not go mentioned on this show, he said Noah Kai Banks is going to make the World Cup roster, or Damian Downs. He's very high in German bred players, obviously.
I haven't seen anything Damian Downs other than his size.
I mean, he's shown some pep, and he's got a couple nice things about him, but he hasn't done enough.
What it looks like in practice. We don't know what it looks like.
No, exactly. But his point was, because he had one of the, I think it was Noah Kai Banks, who is a center back, and if he suddenly becomes, and Pochettino was kind of musing in a way, it was like, maybe he'll be the best center back in Germany. If that's true, then Noah Kai Banks is the best center back in Germany this season, then as Harry says, he'll have a better shot than Trusty in making this team, because then you will have somebody you can think of as the center back that is missing.
Yeah, that's having crystal ball stuff, though. We're kind of making the call based off what we've seen so far.
Right.
All this could change.
But could change. The point is, every World Cup team or every World Cup has players you had no idea were going to be on the World Cup team. Now, sometimes that's because coaches are capricious and just prisoners of the moment, and they're like, oh my God. I mean, we took Reggie, was it Reggie? What's his name? Finley. Robbie. We took Robbie Finley to a World Cup in 2010. Like, did anybody think Robbie Finley was World Cup level?
Develop,
No,
he was hot in MLS at the time.
But the point is, the reason that happened is because Bob Bradley was looking for somebody to do what Charlie Davies had been doing before Charlie Davies had the accident. Mm-hmm. And so it was like, all of a sudden, oh my God, what was the closest approximation we got? Well, we don't got anybody in Europe doing it. I guess it's Robbie Finley of Real Salt Lake, who's going to be the guy that goes to the World Cup with us. Right? So I don't know. It is
listen, at the end of the day, none of us know shit. None of us know shit.
Exactly right.
There's like maybe 7 guys we know for sure are going to be on this roster.
Yes.
I don't know. The hard part is we don't know how much credence to give to the absences. We know what we see with the guys who are playing. What we don't know is how Poch really feels about the guys who aren't in camp. How does he really feel about McKennie? How does he really feel about Cardoso? How does he really feel about Pepe? We don't know how he feels about all these guys because we're not seeing Musa. Yunus Musa's had a frustrating year. He's been playing right forward for the national team, right back for AC Milan, and midfield for AC Milan. Like, he's all over the place. Same with Tim Weah. Like, he's all over the place as well. So I don't know.
Let's do this real quick because Dan is asking, and I think this is a decent shout in terms of a question. How many absolute locks do we think there are? And this is again gut and
counting keepers. I wasn't really thinking keepers when I said 7, but I'll count keepers, I guess. So I would.
Oh no, I don't. Man, do you have to count keep? Well, okay, I think Turner is the lock. Whether he's the starter or not, Turner's a lock.
You don't think Freeze's a lock to make the roster?
It's really hard to know right now. Yeah.
All right, let's leave keepers out of it. Okay, Tim Ream.
Let's leave keepers out. Tim Ream's a lock, which is wild. Lock. Yes.
On yours right here, Mark McKenzie, not a lock. Austin Trensey, not a lock.
No.
Joe Scally, not a lock. Anthony Robinson's a lock.
He's a lock.
Is Serginho Dest a lock?
Yes, I think so.
He's played one time for him.
For talent, yes, he's a lock. Serginho Dest is a lock.
Okay. I think you and I think he is. I don't know that Pochettino is. Is Mac Arston a lock?
No, not a lock. No.
So we're at 4 right now. Tyler Adams a lock?
Yes.
Weston McKennie a lock?
I think so, but I don't know, man. I
wouldn't put him as a lock for Pochettino, man.
All right.
Johnny Cardoso a lock?
No.
Diego Luna a lock?
No.
Malik Tillman a lock?
I think kind of Tillman is a lock.
Maybe.
Honestly,
Yeah, I think we'll see.
Could it be a half lock? Could it be a half lock?
Flynn? No,
of course not. No.
I mean, we won't see anything that's not on both of our rosters because obviously,
of course. Yeah, we wouldn't.
Christian Pulisic, lock.
Yes, of course. That's
Tim Weah, lock.
Man, yes, I guess.
I think so.
Okay.
Balogun, I think is a lock.
He's a lock, but that's not necessarily a commentary on how great he is or whatever. It's basically the situation with strikers. But yeah, I think he's a lock as long as he's healthy.
Ajerman?
No, of course not.
Zendejas?
No.
Did I say Pepe?
You did not.
I think Pepe or Balogun. I can't say they're both locks. I think there's one out of the two of them that it will be. I'll say one of those two will be a lock. So I think should take one spot. So I think that left us with 9.
Okay. 9 out of 23, potentially 26.
Okay, yeah. Listen, the only person we mentioned that's not actively playing with the team right now is Wes McKennie and Anthony Robinson. Everyone else is in the roster that we said is a lock.
Yeah. Yeah, and Robinson is because, I mean, according to Poach, working back from his injury this summer, his surgery. But Weston is different. That's why Weston is like at least kind of like raise an eyebrow. Is he a lock?
Yeah, like Robinson isn't even getting a lot of starting minutes for Fulham since the start of the season because he's coming back.
Yeah, man.
9 locks, dude, out of 23. I mean, 20 because we didn't use the goalkeepers, but
yeah, we didn't use the goalkeepers. So it would. Yeah, I do think.
There's
I think
a lot of question marks, man.
2 of those goalkeepers are locked. So that's 11 spots out of 23 that are locked. That's less than half the team. And again, it could be 26. And people said if you had a bonus 3, who would you throw in there? Who are your additional players?
I would take another center back for sure because I only took 3. So I would take a center back. I would probably take. I like Austin Trusty, dude. I like Austin Trusty. I like the athleticism that he has. You know, it'd be Trusty or Robinson. I'm not touching CCV with a 10-foot pole. So I would probably take Austin Trusty.
It might be Noah, but that's the thing. It might be Noah Kai Banks just from pure potential.
Yeah, it could be. I mean,
playing level.
On my team, if I was to take 3 more players, I would probably take 2 more defenders because I was short on defenders.
You were short.
So I would probably take 2 more defenders.
I would probably throw in another central midfielder, I guess.
Yeah,
maybe it might be Luca. It might be Luca. And I guess if you have if you have those bonus spots, then you take a flyer on Gio.
Gio Reyna. Yeah.
You do. You bring Gio if he's completely healthy. If you're limited to 23 and like I said, if I got Luna and Zendejas in my team, probably taking Gio is unless he's the better option.
I would say the other option that I would think about taking on a 26-man roster, and again, people are going to kill me for this, but it's not because they're the best player. It's giving you the best options for the scenarios you could be in. Brendan Erickson.
Okay.
Because you may get in those situations where you need to chase down you need that industry and stuff like that.
I don't think he's a complete waste of a player. He's just not a guy that you can justify taking in your first 11, your first.
But
15.
It's conditional, right? It's a conditional kind of pick.
Right. You know, that's the thing. On a 26 man, probably Walker Zimmerman gets to go to another World Cup. He probably does. Or Miles. I guess it could be between those two guys.
If we're being honest, Miles is probably the closest one. Just neither of us want to say it.
Probably. Yeah, but there are other, there's the intangible factors that are part of this too. And I don't know. That's the thing. All right. I think that wraps it up. Best soccer show.
I gotta go I gotta take my kid homecoming outfit shopping. So
wow, look at your kids all growing up.
I know.
Yeah.
Gotta match it to his girlfriend's dress.
Don't tell him what happened in the world today, because that's a bummer.
We don't talk about that.
All right. By the way, guys, we got a Patreon at patreon.com/thebestsoccershow, a vibrant community of American soccer people all hanging out in the Slack, which is really cool. Really great place to be. That's where the question for the 23 came today, and just basics. Also a place to vent. If the world is getting to you and you just want to get stuff off your chest, or maybe you want to find somebody to say something to that you can't say in public or can't say to your, whatever. There are people there.
Also, last week we did record a bonus show that is up in the Patreon as well.
That's right. We did do a bonus show, which was very introspective and intimate.
I don't remember now what we talked about.
We talked about parenting.
Oh.
We talked about religion. God came up.
Damn.
Jared,
by name?
Jared,
what did we say about her?
God. God is the best. I'm
what did we say about her?
We didn't do any UFO talk tonight. I'm so disappointed. So disappointed.
Is there something new?
The missile bouncing off the orb video.
Oh, now you're interested?
Don't do that.
You know that happened in 2024, and people knew about this already, right? We just didn't see the video until today.
Because I'm a normie and only found out today doesn't mean I'm not worthy of your. Never mind. Whatever.
Did you hear the Three-Eye Atlas change colors the last couple of days?
Oh no. I tried to explain that to my wife. She had no clue she could not comprehend what I was saying to her. What is it? Three-eyed Atlas?
Three-Eye Atlas.
Oh man. All right. If you want UFO talk, maybe we'll do something on that later on at some point. Patreon.com/thebestsoccershow. Oops, I didn't mean to cover us up. Tomorrow I head to Albuquerque. It's why it says I'm Albuquerque'd up under my name on the screen, because I'm flying to Albuquerque to broadcast live from Isotopes Park in Albuquerque, New Mexico, for New Mexico United against FC Tulsa on Saturday. Meow Wolf Night is going to be happening. People are going to be decked out in costumes and celebrating the art scene of New Mexico combined with soccer. It's going to be wild. So it would be very nice if all of you, I'm going to try. I'm definitely going to try. It'd be nice if all of you at least liked the video or said you were going to watch it or shared it with a friend.
Where should they follow to get that content?
They go to Morning Kick Around on YouTube. Morning is one word. Kick Around is a second word. Type that in and you will find us. And we have tons of stuff. And then we're getting ready for New Mexico. It's going to be wild. I actually do not know what's going to happen. I'm enough of an anxious person about travel and new places I haven't been to kind of be concerned that I don't know what's going to go down.
The major never took you there?
The major?
Or the colonel?
Did you demote my dad?
I don't know which is higher.
Majors are lower than colonels.
Okay,
it goes major, lieutenant colonel, full bird. My dad pinned on full bird. Deserves your respect as a colonel in the United States Air Force. Thank you very much. No, I visited Clovis, New Mexico, when my cousins lived there because their dad was in the Air Force.
Hey, if you're in New Mexico, that's where all that Roswell shit is, man. You need to check some of that stuff out.
I don't know if I'm getting over that. This is where my worlds are colliding. I'm going to New Mexico, home of Roswell, New Mexico, and the most famous UFO encounter that has ever been mythologized. And then also this thing happened with the missile.
Just don't be so busy. Don't look up once in a while. Look up once in a while. Just see what's up there.
Just to see if there's something going on in the stratosphere. Maybe I'll catch a glimpse of Three-Eyed Atlas changing colors up there in space. Is that how it works? They'll beam me down. Like if I'm just like, come get me. Will they come and get me?
They're not going to pick you as the representative of our species.
Why not? What's wrong with me? What are you trying to say? What's wrong with me?
Listen, you change allegiances and shirts every week. Come on.
I'm so upset. All right, that's it. We're gonna get out of here. Thank you guys for listening. We'll talk to you very soon. Bye.
Go to DEFCON 2. Oh, it's incredible!
Is that JTT?
OMFPG-13, it's JTT! Who? Who asked those questions?
So feel respect for the Gegner. So feel respect for the Gegner.